Get it out of the system now, Rory. Just keep fucking losing this year. Who cares? This year we're chalking it up. It's it's the year where he blew the U.S. Open, finished second, couldn't get it done. Just finish second every tournament this year. Who cares? And then when we turn the calendar and we turn that thing over to next year, he's back. 2025
the Irish.
This year.
This one.
The flip side and the silver lining of it is that, and the reality of it is that he's always there. He's just really up there all the time. He's playing so well that he's able to have chances where he blows it. And it's not going to make him feel any better. But if you keep giving yourself chances, you're probably going to win eventually. Statistically, you're going to go over the hump. And Rory, listen, he's already a Hall of Famer. He's already got majors. He's already won so many golf tournaments, so he knows this. But putting yourself in a position, it's almost like you're saying, oh my gosh, he missed all these chances, but he's still putting himself in that position. And most guys aren't doing that week to week. So we're penalizing him for playing so well that he almost wins.
Well, it's interesting. Golf is not like the other sports. And I'm always weary of a team that makes it really far. And then you're like, holy shit, they got to do that whole thing next year. It's a full year season. Like, you think about the Rangers, right? They make it all the way. And then at the very end, they just can't make it happen. It's like, oh God, next year you need it all to happen again. You got to stay healthy. You need guys to score 50 goals. You need Panarin to put up 100 points. You need Shesterkin. You need all these things. It all needs to happen again. You need the teams around you not be as strong. You need it's just, it all has to fall in line. And when you're that close, it feels like it's never going to come back. But then you also look at like the Tampa Bay Lightning were knocking on the door for years, and then they finally break through and they win. Vegas Golden Knights, it's the same deal. With golf, it is such a, you get into a rhythm from week to week that you really don't have to feel that way about a guy. It does somewhat feel like, how many chances are we going to blow? These could all be wins. These could be major wins. These could be tournament wins. We could be racking up statistics at this point. But he's in such a groove this year, and it's a shame because it is a negative. You're taking a negative feeling away from Rory McIlroy in the year 2024, but he's playing outrageously well, where he's in contention in every single tournament he's playing in, to the point where it's like we're making fun of the guy for blowing massive leads in biggest tournaments in the world. That guy's playing outrageous golf. He's making so many putts and birdies and eagles. Think about how good that guy's playing. He's beating 99.9% of the rest of the world all the time. And just at the very end, one guy just slips in and beats him. It's like, all right, well, so yeah, there's really no way to feel down about him. If Tiger Woods had the year that Rory had this year, we would be walking close to the edge. Because there's not many more chances. Hopefully that's not true. But statistically, and just the way life is going, there's not that many more chances for this guy to secure some victories. And if Tiger Woods was this close every single time, and he was losing at the end, we'd be jumping off cliffs. You know what I mean? Because it's just they're in different parts of their lives. He's fine.
Rory's got 15 more years left.
Yes.
Tiger, it's very different.
The closest comparison to the team sports is the wait in between majors, because that's all that matters for Rory right now. I mean, if he wins at Wentworth this week, that doesn't change his legacy at all. In any way. And he knows that.
It actually adds to the negative side of it, where he's he can win everything else except for the majors these last 10 years. It's almost like a negative spin that the assholes will put on it. Oh, go win Wentworth. You can't win the US Open.
I think the issue is that it's been now to be 11 years since he's won a major championship, that we know he's good enough. We know he's playing well enough. It's that we all understand that golf completely changes when you're in certain situations and you feel a certain way. And clearly Rory has not handled those situations well enough over the last decade to get it done. And so that is, I think, that's the only real negative that I could take away, is he building up more and more as he finishes second over and over again in these events, even if they're majors or not majors? Is he building up sort of that tension? Is the monkey getting heavier and heavier on his back in these moments, which it felt like it did at the US Open, missing those putts?
18's still a tough putt, man.
18's tough putt.
I've gone back and watched it. 16 was a miss. 16's
2.5 foot dead straight putt. You just got to make that. And I'm saying, I was getting into this with people last week at Pinehurst. I know everybody agrees that the putt on 18 was a really tough putt. it's also 3.5 feet, and he's supposed to be a top 10 player in the history of golf. Does Tiger Woods miss that putt on the 72nd hole of the U.S. Open? It's
No.
3.5 feet. I get that
I
it was a
know.
hard putt. It's three and a
I
half
know.
feet. Like, and bury
Also,
that thing in the heart.
Bryson had a really tough wedge shot, a bunker shot. You know what I mean? Like, there's
And
all
just
tough
pulled it
shots
off.
to win the U.S. Open.
Yeah, I think like when you were saying hockey teams or football teams or whatever, where you have to do it all over again the next year, I think that is very analogous to what happened at Pinehurst to Rory. Like, you got to play that well again. Scotty's not in the mix. Like, you got to have a good Friday. You got to have a good Thursday. Rory's not a great tournament starter. He'll just blow it on Thursday and Friday, and it never happens. So he got through at Pinehurst. So, all right, now we're on to Saturday. I'm playing well. Kind of the big dogs are out of it, the big guys who've been winning them. All right, now we're at Sunday, and I've got a lead, and I'm building this, and it's right in front of me. I've got the lead with 4 holes to go, and then you blow it on 16, you blow it on 18. Now you got to, I mean, the next major's coming, but you got to wait a year for the next U.S. Open. Like, that is what would devastate me if I were Rory.
Right, it could be like the Bills. They made it to 4 Super Bowls in a row, lost them all.
Dude,
and then they just like never make it again. Gotcha. So it's just like you never know when it's going to come around.
Same with Rory at St. Andrews. Just had it on Sunday. If he makes 3 putts, he wins the 150th Open Championship at St. Andrews, and that does change his legacy because he finally got over the hump. He got it at such an iconic place in an iconic year, and he burns every edge. Cam Smith lights it on fire in the back 9, and it's his. And it's just another one that Rory didn't win. Though you are right, like, I think each individual major is a playoff series, is a playoff run in golf. And because you have 4 days where you got to build it. Thursday, you can't win. What do they say? You can't win it the first days, but you certainly can lose it. And that's what Rory has done more times than he would like over the course of the last 11 years. And so when you finally put yourself in a position to do it and don't execute and win, devastating.
Maybe he's been on a podcast and has answered this. I haven't
on ours.
Seen him. Hopefully it's ours. I'd like to ask him that. Put it. He's a big sports fan. Like, put him in that situation. He obviously doesn't really want to talk about him not winning majors and collapsing and stuff. But like, does he think, or do you guys think that he thinks that these are opportunities wasted? And mentally, is he thinking, I got to do that all over again? Like, that's almost more daunting than not even coming close. I
think that's the most reasonable way to view it. He might look at it differently. I don't know, but you would have to think there's got to at least be part of him that's like, yeah, each one of these that I let go by. If you miss a cut, that's almost better than missing on 16.
But is it? Because like guys will say like the momentum of like finishing in second and like that's just how you stay in the mix to win the next one. And like you'd rather just always have a chance to win every single tournament you play.
I think now that I would say that I would fall in that camp actually. That's basically the point I made where it was like playing well enough, you got to break through eventually. You can't be the guy who's always finishing second.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's shown that he's very aware and conscious and thinking of it. I think he made the comments in the Full Swing where they're asking about Brooks Koepka, and he was like, yeah, of course it's tough when like the guy that's got the same amount of majors as you wins another one to go ahead of you, and like you haven't won one in 10 years. Like I think he basically said that in Full Swing.
Yeah, but I meant more like is he like going into each next major almost like carrying the weight of the last one because of how close he was? Similar to a team that was like we were one strike away from the World Series or one save away from winning Stanley Cup. Like, is he bringing that weight onto him? And like what's that like to carry on into the next Masters? Or like, you know what I mean? Like, what does that do to a guy? I mean, that's got to add to the hard read on 18. There's so much weight there as opposed to it just being a hard golf shot, a tough putt. There's so like, is he feeling that? Has he been open enough to say like, yeah, I am feeling it? That 3-foot putt felt like a 30-foot putt because of what I did the last time and because of all the years I haven't been able to do it. Because then that unlocks the issue right there.
Yeah, Rory McIlroy, it's time to make your first appearance on the Fore Play Golf podcast and answer these questions
and be like, it's too much weight, man. It's clearly just too much weight.
He didn't necessarily say it, but he did. Riggs has talked about it, where he's like, I felt uncomfortable, and he wasn't referring necessarily to the last 10 years. He was more like, these are high pressure golf moments at a very important tournament. But there's got to be a part of him that's I don't want to answer for him. I want him to come on the show and answer himself.
Yeah, I guess what I was saying with that comment about the Brooks stuff was that like that tells me he is carrying all of that. Like he's saying it,
Yeah.
in his car when they're asked like, "Oh, what do you think about Brooks Koepka winning?" He's like, "I haven't won one in a decade." So I was like, I just
Right.
feel like, yeah, I feel like it clearly has to. I feel like that's the only way he misses a 2.5 footer on 16. It's like and that part of it is so hard because a lot of what you're saying is in play there where it's like, dude, he did all the hard stuff. He's driving the ball 350 yards on a 540-yard par four. It's like he's hitting a towering 8-iron to the middle of the green from like 190 yards. It's like unbelievably impressive. And then you just got to roll this fucking thing 2.5 feet and that hole and you're missing. It's like, dude, you're doing all the hard. You've gotten this far. You got if it's the British Open, it's like you're getting the good draw of the weather and everything has to go right. You got to be healthy that week and not come down with a stomach bug. And then your driving has to be on. You get a good couple bounces that don't go in a pop bunker. They go in the fairway and you got this chance. You don't get that chance very often. And then you just don't get it done. And then you don't get it done again. And then you don't get it done again.
Just such a common story.
Like,
unfortunately, it's like the Atlanta Falcons 28-3 lead on the Patriots, and it's just like just close that out, and they don't. And it's just it's sports. It's sport. It's what it is. And unfortunately,
Yeah.
Rory McIlroy holds that weight in the golf world of like each year it just compounds. It just keeps piling on.